where real conversations replace quick fixes and perfect answers. Welcome to We Are Not Fine.
Guys, welcome back to We Are Not Fine. And today's episode is sponsored by the Shadi season. No, really, Instagram is doing mass roka distribution.
Every time we open our phone, someone is haldiing, mehending, or honeymooning.
And while everyone is tying knots, we are tying our self esteems together.
So today we are gonna talk about marriages, timelines, panic, and pressure. So tell me, Muskan, how panicked are you?
Uh, to be honest, I don't think I'm panicked, but definitely opening Instagram and watching everyone get married is absolutely overwhelming right now.
Is it? Why exactly is it overwhelming?
Uh, because everybody who are of my age or even younger are getting married now. That is why it's overwhelming, because it also feels like, okay, we are at this age where we are supposed to get married
Yeah,
according to the society.
yeah.
um, so even though there's no proper pressure from my own side, it still feels like I have some kind of a pressure on me.
Hmm. Okay, so you're saying that you're aware of the fact that it's societal pressure, and yet you're still pressured by it?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
That's
not,
very
it's
interesting.
nothing that is coming from inside. It's not an internal pressure for sure, because
Yeah.
I've never had a timeline for myself. But it definitely feels that it definitely feels a little pressured.
What exactly are you pressured about? Is it about the person, the age, the timing? Like, what exactly is it?
All of it. All of it. See, about the age, what we get to hear is that, you should get married at a proper age because of the biological clock.
Yeah, yeah.
The right person, of course.
Of course.
That's the main thing which comes into play here.
Yeah.
And what else?
Now you tell me.
I think right now, these are the things that I'm mostly
That you're
overwhelmed about. Yeah.
okay. Okay, fair enough.
What
Hey,
about
I don't.
you?
I honestly can't relate to that because I remember opening my Instagram and whenever I see somebody getting married, I'm just like, oh, they're getting married. But that's about it. I don't think I have a reaction beyond that because I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I really don't know. But marriage is not something that I have ever honestly thought about,
Mm-hmm.
unless questioned, because we talk about it as friends also, right? And remember talking a while back when we were just randomly discussing about what marriage is or what could it be or do you want to get married, and that's probably the only time, like when I'm directly faced with the question, do I sit and think about it. And I honestly don't have much of an opinion or feel particular pressure or timeline about it. I just people get married, I suppose, and that's okay. It's not something that I've thought of for myself, you know. And luckily enough, neither has my family ever said anything about it. So I think that just keeps, the extra pressure also away from it.
I think
So
the
I
best
definitely,
part is that, as you do not have any pressure, as you do
yeah,
not have any internal pressure, you do not even have external pressure.
I don't,
Most
yeah.
of
And
us do have
honestly, I
external
think
pressure.
even if I did have like external pressure, you never know. Maybe they might start saying it in the next year or two or something. But I definitely do not have internal pressure. So I think I'll just come from a place where I can say that, you know what, maybe not. Maybe why don't you keep your idea to yourself and maybe not force it on me. So yeah, could be that. So is marriage something you thought about from like a young age, or is it something that popped up in your head only now?
I think it popped up in my head just very recently. It was
Okay.
never, I mean, I never thought of a big fat Indian wedding or marriages in general. Whenever I remember that, whenever I would talk about marriages in general with my parents, I would always tell them that, whenever I will get married, I want to have a just a court marriage thing.
Mm.
And yeah, probably that's it. And they would always be, there would always be a tussle between us that, no, 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 we have to invite these people. And I have still till date, I say this, that, I just want a court marriage. That's it. I don't want the whole facade to be
Right,
there.
right.
But yeah, it was not really a thing that I started thinking from my childhood. It's very recent. What about
No,
you?
but see, that's very interesting, right? I think I'll ask a lot of people about, what they've thought about marriage, and sometimes it seems like the answer is only up until the extent of the actual ceremony. Nobody ever talks about why they want to get married and what happens after you get married. Like, why do you want to get married? Like, what is your reasoning behind it? And everything that else that you're feeling of what marriage might actually even look like. Nobody talks about that. So, see, you also mentioned like it will be a court marriage. We will maybe not invite people. Your parents like we will invite people. So all of that is actually just until the ceremony, right? What happens after that? So I think if a lot more people actually sat down and thought about what is going to happen or what would life look like once you go through just that small ceremony, I think a lot of us would have a lot more clearer answers as to why or why not they want to get married.
That is very true.
Because whenever anybody asks me now, I'm a very private person, so I would anyway like if you just going off the answer you said, I'm also thinking now. So I'm like, I would probably also get a court marriage done because I don't know, I really don't like that many people have social anxiety anyways. So but I'm thinking of this just now. Up until now, whenever somebody asks me about marriage, I think about, what it would mean to, live with someone every single day,
Mm-hmm.
all the other things that will have to change in life and all of
Correct.
that. So then it straight away it comes to a no kind of a thing, or I just don't think beyond that because it honestly does seem like a lot of work. So I haven't thought of it in this direction of, how I'll get married. I just think about what it would look like once you're married kind of a thing. So I think there's a good distinction between that also. And it always happens that people say, how they'll get married, but not what life might look like once you're married. So how about that then?
That's true. Also, yeah, that's, yeah, weirdly, that's not my first thought, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a thought that comes to my head. This that is exactly what these kind of conversations I do have
Mm,
with my mom, where I tell her that,
yeah.
uh, if she, randomly says that, that this guy would be a good match for you, then I have to explain it to her that, this would be our living situation and all of that. So yeah, that thing, definitely it comes into play, and I think, um, that's something that matters the most because you
Mm.
have to stay with that person 24/7, not
It does.
24/7, but for your entire life.
You do. Plus, it's like, all our ideas of, growing up as a 90s kid or like a early 2000s kid, all our idea of what love and marriage looks like is also just from movies that also end right when they get married, right? They never show what
That's
happens
very
after marriages.
true.
The movies that are based on life after marriage are films like, are films like Bagban, in which, it's so sad that the way the kids treat them. Then it is Chalte Chalte, in which Shah Rukh and this one Rani Mukherjee fight
Hmm.
all the time. Or it is Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where he gets married and she dies. Or it's just one thing after the, or Shadi ke side effects, right? So,
Tararam pam.
or Tara Rabba. So it's like, every story that is after a marriage is kind of sad, honestly. I'm not saying they're not good ones. I'm just saying the representation
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they have
that's
is
true.
not that great.
It is not that great.
Yeah,
And also, our culture does romanticize marriages a lot,
yes, it does.
and it only it only romanticizes the starting car situation
The
of the
start.
marriage. That's
That's
all.
true.
They've never really showed the proper reality of after getting
Exactly.
married.
Exactly. No, but that's the thing, right? Can they really even show the reality? Because all of us are so different and so unique in what we, require from a partner, how we are as partners, what we will look like in a marriage also. Because I think a lot of people don't understand that dating a person is very different from marrying that person. It's like immediately some kind of a switch flips, for people. And how they are as a boyfriend or a girlfriend is very different from how they're going to be as a husband and as a wife. And then maybe later on as a parent also. So all these things are just, they're so confusing and they're so unique. I don't think there is one answer for it,
Yeah, of
honestly.
course, there's no one answer, but there is no proper depiction as well.
That's what I'm saying, right? It must be so difficult to boil it down to one thing, right? It's like there is no way that a marriage can look the same for two people if they were to even marry different people. Like they wouldn't be the same version of themselves if they were to marry like person A or marry person B is the thing, right? So then how can you really depict it that well? That's why one of the things I find very interesting is that, when people talk about getting married and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, like in India, there's a huge majority of, where parents choose your partner, right? So arranged marriage setup. Now it works for a lot of people. Then there are some people who it doesn't work for, right?
Yeah.
The same with love marriages. For some it works, for some it doesn't work. For some being single works, for some being married works. So there is like literally no one single answer to this is the problem. I think it honestly just is to each their own kind of a thing. And you pick the choice which seems the easiest and brings the less amount of stress, I suppose. Because how else will you choose it?
This makes me this brings something in my head that what is your idea of marriage?
I don't know. I don't know. I suppose it's gonna be a partnership. It would seem like dating someone, but you're just living with them, and then it would be societally approved, also, I suppose.
So dating but with a roommate.
Yeah, dating, but society approved, I suppose.
Society approved. Mm-hmm.
But then that's the thing. I mean, there are so many of my clients also, and so many examples that you see out, just not just in the therapy world, but out in the real world also, where people say that he was different as a boyfriend and now he's different as your husband. So can it
Yeah.
really just be dating but societally approved? I don't know. I really don't know. Because I think we don't even know what the transition looks like for people. A lot of people that are married say that there is this different sense of responsibility that they feel on the wedding day itself, you know. So that is, I think, something that will have to be experienced, right? We can't really comment on what it might feel like or what we are going to feel in the moment. So I really don't know what marriage would feel like or should feel like, honestly. No idea. What about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, even I have no idea what it would look like. Only because uh, now that you question me about this thing, that you also you just said that, Muskan, you also just said that, how you want to get married, not the
Yeah.
after part of it. I have, I think I have thought about it, but
Mm.
I don't know what's how it's supposed to be, or
Everyone does.
or how it should look like. That's something that now I'm questioning. And the whole time that you were speaking, I was trying to listen to you, but I was in my head. No, how is it going to be?
Or, maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe it can very well be that, no one is supposed to know what marriage should look like. And then you just figure it out with your partner, I suppose. Maybe that's marriage, that, you take every day as it comes and you try and figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Much like
I'm sure
dating,
that
right?
there is no definite answer to it.
They can't be, right? I think
There.
it's figuring out each day as it comes, sort of,
Hmm.
but with the added sense of responsibility that you can't get out of it that easily, I
But
suppose.
are
Like,
we ready for it?
sorry.
But are we ready for it?
I think time will tell if we are ready for it. Right? There are so many things that are going to come into play, right? It's not just going to be the one answer.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of difficulty that people face when it comes to marriages is that, how, say, for instance, we follow the normal societal expectation structure, right? That is that, okay, you will get married, then you will have kids, then you will take care of kids, you grow old, whatever, right? But what if some people just want to get married but not have kids? What if some people want to stay single and then have kids?
Hmm.
What if somebody wants to have two kids, somebody just wants to have one child? You know, so all these are, conversations that I think a lot of people skip sometimes, and then all of a sudden they enter marriage and are like, oh, I expected something different out of the marriage, because apparently it's a given that we'll have kids, because everyone does. So it's the same sometimes, I think, for marriage also. Everybody gets married, so they are also expecting we will also get married. You don't have to, is the point, right?
I
So I
absolutely
think
agree with this. And it's so important to talk about these things before you get married. But then,
it is. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's so how do I say it? It's so normal. It's so normalized, this, set of steps that you have, that, go to college, get a job, get married, have kids, send kids to school, send them to college, get old. like it's so in steps that you can't really jump or skip steps. So the easiest just seems to follow through them. And that's what I'm saying. For the majority, especially in a country like India, it still does seem to work, right? It is only that very few people are considering what life not following these steps could
Mm-hmm.
actually look like. But then, even who knows if they are doing the right thing, because it's working for a lot of people. So it's like, I honestly think the only right perspective to look at it is that to each their own, and every single person should just maybe take some time to think about what exactly is it that they want without fearing what somebody else might think of the choice they make. That's probably it. There's no guarantee for anything, not with the not with people at least. So not in a marriage or not in a relationship, but not with kids also, right? So maybe just thinking about it and choosing the option that seems best at that point, I suppose.
Yeah. And this just neutralizes everything, that and we can't really pinpoint that this is the right thing to do, or that is the right thing to do, or this is how it's supposed to be, that is how we can't, because
We
it is
can't.
going to
That's
be
right.
different for everyone. So
So
I
what do you
think,
think is would make more sense? Not marrying at all, or marrying at the wrong time or the wrong person?
what would make more sense?
No, which would be more worrisome for you?
Which
Like
would
to
be more
think
harmful?
about, how would you make sense of these things? Like marrying the wrong person or not marrying at all?
Dude, I don't want both of them to happen. I
No,
would not.
you have to pick one. It's would you rather.
It's marrying the wrong person and marrying at
Not
the wrong,
marrying at
not
all.
marrying at, definitely not marrying at all.
So then see, if you pick that, then your first fear that you started with, that completely goes away, right? Because you don't want to marry wrong, so then how can you be pressured by finding someone in a particular set timeline? Because then there are high chances you might pick wrong, right?
Yeah, but I think
Okay, I'm kidding though. Let's remove the would you rather option. Let's just try to make sense of it. Which do you think would you be more afraid of, or which would be worse? Marrying the wrong person or not marrying at all?
which would be worse. I think marrying the wrong person.
Okay, why is that?
Oh my god, I can't imagine staying in a marriage where I am not happy or I'm not
No, that is
respected.
true. Okay, now again, this is very interesting. I said marrying the wrong person. You said staying in a marriage. You can marry the wrong person and leave also. Why do you think that if you are going to get married, you have to stay? How is that your first thought?
Yeah, probably because of the societal expectation that we have to stay in marriages. I'm sure
That's
I won't stay in the marriage. That is,
true, but that's your
but that's
first
my
thought,
first
right?
thought.
Because
Yeah.
even if it's not working, I
Hmm.
might have to stay in it, just because it's a marriage.
And recently, we've seen so
Hmm.
many people either before getting married, the actual festivities are going on and they break it off because they find something which is not working between them, or people are getting married and divorcing the partner after 6 months itself.
Yeah, yeah,
And as much as I appreciate this culture, because it was important uh,
yeah,
to be displayed it here in our
yeah,
in India, because people still think that divorcing
yeah,
is not really the right thing to
yeah,
do.
yeah. True, true.
Uh, but yeah, it is important. And yes, man, oh my god, why did I say stay? Something that I have to figure out again.
That's okay. That's okay. That's in line with our podcast, right? We're not fine, clearly. So there
Mhm.
are some opinions and some thoughts and biases that we have that are also, stuck somewhere. So that's okay. I'm sure you'll figure it out. But it's very interesting. It's like I had talked to someone and they said that they would just feel much safer with their current partner if the situation was the same, as in, that fact that they're not emotionally available, the fact that they are very reactive and everything, if they were in a marriage. So the same person who, cannot provide you safety in like a boyfriend girlfriend setup
Mhm.
can apparently provide safety if it had the label of marriage on it. which was so confusing to me. As in, the person is the same, as in, he will not respond on time, he will not take you on dates, he's not emotionally available, but he's reactive also. But just because the label of a marriage is there, she would feel safer, is what she said, which is so confusing.
Yeah, I think they just believe that that version of themselves will come into light once they have that tag.
Probably that, or probably the fact that, he won't leave because it's a marriage. The way you said it, right? Stay, kind of thing. Because when your partner is not compatible with you, as in he's not emotionally available, can't even reply to, means that he's not very interested, particularly in the relationship, right? And when you're dating, the other person can leave easier, right? But when it's a marriage, it's going to be difficult to leave. So it's like, the anxious part of her just stays more grounded
More
once she
grounded,
knows
that's
there's
true.
a label on it. So that's, so in my head, where she was saying all of this, I was like, but why would you marry someone who doesn't reply to your texts? That was in my brain, and she was saying it would be easier because now we would have a label on
Exactly
it. So
why I said that, it's just her idea that, he would, that version of him will come into light, but that's still an assumption.
it is, and that's what I'm saying. How do you reach a stage, something so significant as marriage, something so meaningful as marriage, when the steps or the path looks like this? Like, shouldn't you be very sure of the person you're marrying? Especially because the idea is that you can't leave it very easily. Then how do you just marry blindly and then be like, बाद में change हो जाएगा? I mean, I just don't get how those two things fall in place. And it's surprisingly very true for people who are anxious about their partners.
Hmm.
It's like they're not working. I mean, it's not 100% working right now, but if we get married, it will work. But if it's not working right now, why would you even want to take such a step with this person? That's something I don't get. That's similar to, how sometimes when a marriage is not working, and people are like, have a kid so it would work. If a marriage is not working, how will parenting together work?
Probably because the fear of uncertainty,
Yeah,
um, it's like they are rolling the dice on this thing that, okay, let's give it a chance. Maybe the fear
let's
of uncertainty
outsource
is
it to something here.
less here.
Maybe just, so that, when marriages are there and people are like, if it's not working, have a kid so it will work. I think the idea is that, once the kid is there, they will be more reluctant to separate because it's going to affect the kid also. So there's like more at stake now, I suppose. you know and the same with the dating that's not working, for it to progress into marriage, it's like, it's a marriage, so there's more at stake now. So the same things you're just supposed to, I don't know, maybe compromise on, maybe all of a sudden start feeling less anxious about. I really don't know how that happens, but
But then we've also seen that a lot of people do,
mm,
uh, the marriages start working much better after they have kids. It's not like, I'm not saying that,
that's true. That's true.
they of course they can't always, and you cannot absolutely just rely on a kid to make your
Yeah,
marriage better.
yeah.
But I have also seen a lot of marriages work because they've had kids.
So that's what I was saying in the beginning, right? That I think even if you as a person, right, given the fact that nothing changes and you stay the same, your marriage is going to look very different with person A, or if you choose to marry person B. Okay, it's as unique as that. Okay, and since we talked about how, the entire feeling, I suppose, of just being in a dating phase with someone to then marrying them, something just flips. That I've heard from a lot of people, right? So it's going to be very unique to who you are and how you're going to experience it. And then, of course, life is also so random, right? So your situation will also make a lot of difference on how you feel in a marriage and what marriage is going to look like for you.
Hmm.
So I think it's always going to be confusing and always will be chaotic. That's why the only probable shot that you might have at figuring it out is sort of just sitting with yourself, asking yourself why you are doing this, what are your reasons for it, and if the reasons for choosing it or not choosing it seem okay to you, then go ahead with it or don't go ahead with it. Like, but I think only you can answer it for yourself, kind of thing, so that you don't have anyone to blame afterwards. I think that is probably the only sane answer I can think of, because it does seem like there are like n number of possibilities of how it can work out. So yeah, man, it's confusing, the topic.
Yeah. I mean, after,
Maybe we should get someone who's married to come talk about this and explain to
yeah,
us
we
what
definitely
it
should.
feels like.
We definitely, and every time that we have had our personal conversations about
Hmm.
this,
Yeah,
we've never come to this conclusion that, there are no right or wrong answers. We've always, it
yeah,
always felt in a group conversation that, okay, everybody has their own perspective, but we
yeah.
don't know what's right or what's wrong. And now it genuinely feels like there is no right or wrong answer to
I
it.
honestly don't think so, because I know of a friend who's like, very against marriage. Not against marriage, but she just never had the idea that she was going to get married. She was like, I want to be on my own kind of a person. And then she met this guy, and 6 months in, they're married because apparently he was the right person. And, she felt like marrying him. If it was somebody else, she might not have felt that, right? So I don't
Lucky.
think there is a set in stone answer also to this, because people can change. It's just the version of you that now has a different definition of it, and afterwards you have a different definition of it. So
And
that's
with
it. So
this,
that.
I want to ask you that,
Hmm.
do you think uh, there is a time when you're completely ready to get married?
I think
Is there
again we
ever
should
a
ask
time?
someone who married, so who's married, so they can tell us whether they felt ready or not. I don't think that, for me, if you're asking me personally, right? I would hope so, man, honestly, because otherwise I'm just gonna be confused my entire life. So I would rather this answer. I would rather hope that there is an actual answer to this,
But
so that
I
I
read
would
it
feel
somewhere.
less anxious.
Hmm.
Huh?
And
What?
it makes sense. Even I would want that one point that, okay, now I'm
I
ready.
hope there is an answer. I don't know.
But what if that answer changes a minute before you're getting married?
Then you change it. That's what I'm saying. You should do what feels right to you in the present. If you're scared of what was happening in the past, or if you're scared of what might happen in the future, you can't really make decisions based off of those things, right? You have to stay in the present.
And this is why I think that readiness is a state of mind.
It is. It definitely is.
It We can't pinpoint it to a specific moment that, this is when
Exactly. Exactly.
you will
You
feel
know how it
ready.
is like when you're with a person, and if they're right for you, it just feels right. I don't think there is a specific moment where it feels right and then all of a sudden it feels wrong. I think with the right person, even when you're fighting, it feels right. So I think that would be your answer to the marriage thing also, right?
Hmm.
As in, if you're planning to marry this person, and all of a sudden you have like a really bad fight, you will not be like, oh, I'm reconsidering marriage. You will probably be just like, we have to fight this out and then we should get married. So I don't think the idea or the reason you are getting married will change. I
That's
think
true.
that might be a good answer to it. I hope that there is some answer to it, so we can be less anxious about this. Otherwise, it will just be a endless back and forth of things, right?
Yeah.
No, but
Now I'm questioning
going,
the
I want to ask you
entire.
the question you asked me, because what if you're right? What if, the last moment you change your mind about marriage? Would you go through with it?
I would definitely not go through with it.
No,
Definitely
but
not.
what if, won't your mind, because I'm an anxious person, so the thought that popped into my head was, oh, but what if I don't go through with it and then I lose the person? But if I just went through with it, maybe I would have calmed down in the next 10 minutes, right? Because sometimes your anxiety just goes up and up.
Yeah, no, see, it depends, right?
Hmm.
What is the kind of anxiety about?
See, so it's depending on the kind of anxiety also. So
Yeah,
again, we
yeah.
come back to the same thing of, it's so different to feel this, to go through this, and it's
Of
gonna
course
be
it is.
different
I
things.
mean, see, if it's just a normal cold feet where you feel
Yeah,
like, oh my god, I have to spend my entire life with this guy, then I
yeah,
think I will give it a
hmm,
try.
yeah,
But if it's something huge, I don't know, like what,
hmm,
if I
hmm,
get to know that the guy has cheated on me or something like that,
yeah.
which
Oh,
is
yeah,
completely
yeah.
a no no, then after that, so then there's no
Right,
question, right? Then
right.
I would give up.
Fair enough. Fair enough. See, but that requires people to be very aware of what their non-negotiables are in a relationship.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people skip over that part also. They're like, ah, it feels nice, it feels nice, let's just do this.
Or
And they
people
forget
let it
to
go during their
discuss.
dating phase, and then during the marriage, it feels like you
Yeah,
can't let it go now.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I don't know, man. It seems like it's a bunch of things that's mixed up and jumbled up. And unfortunately, right now it looks like it's to each person their own. That you're gonna have to individually figure it out as opposed to having like a set standard for. But I think that also is, there's something beautiful about having your own unique experiences as opposed to just doing what everybody else does, right?
Oh, it's definitely amazing. I mean, uh, and this makes me feel good for my own life only
Yeah,
because I've never really done anything that everybody else has done, at least not
yeah,
around me.
yeah.
And it does make me feel that it gives a sense of independence and
It does.
freedom that probably they did not get, but I got, and I chose what to do with it.
That's also very interesting that a lot of young people uh, these days are getting married compared to say our generation that is all of a sudden not getting married or taking their time to get married.
Mhm.
So do you think this kind of awareness actually comes with age? Because you do find it a lot in women that as they get older they prefer not to get married, honestly, because you don't really see a lot of benefits of getting married also, or you become independent and aware and just happy in who you are as, as a person individually, that you don't really see a lot of value add in marriage also.
It can be both.
Okay.
It definitely can be both. I feel like because I know a lot of people when I was working in the school,
Hmm. Hmm.
college, I knew a lot of teachers who were unmarried there.
Hmm.
And I did talk to one of them, and one of them told me that she never got married because she was very much comfortable in her own
Yeah.
self, and she never felt the need to get married,
Yeah.
so she never got married. And what was the other thing that you said?
I'm saying, as in young people who get married quickly, right? Do you think if they waited a while, they would get a different kind of self awareness? Or,
Maybe, maybe not. The young people around me who are getting married have always thought about getting married at an early age.
right?
uh, so I don't know, but maybe there, I really don't know, maybe.
See, all these answers are such maybes because we really don't know what it is. And I think there is no concrete answer to it. It's like it's as simple as asking what is love to someone, right? And everybody seems to have their own definition of it, which is
Yeah,
good. It should be, right?
yeah.
So I think the same for marriage or getting married or not getting married or whatever. What is your idea of it, or what is your definition, or what is your take on it? I think should be just as unique and to each their own. And for people to know that it is not set in stone and that you can actually change your opinion if you meet the right person and you feel like it's the right time to do it.
I
And
would
then change it again
definitely,
when you figure out, ki, nah, nah, this was not for me.
yeah, 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 of course we need to have that freedom,
You
and
should. You
everybody
should.
should. It's just that since there's so much of societal pressure, people go through it completely.
That's true.
But no, I mean, yeah, even when I've had my relationships, I've thought of getting married at some point
Okay.
at least.
Okay.
But it was never like that, I have to get married at this age or
Mm,
by this time. It
mm.
was never that. It was that it was just like that if I'm dating for this long, then I should see
Mm.
some kind of a future with the other person.
So how long? What is your number on the if I'm dating with this long, then I will
I
say
don't know. There's no specific number.
acha. So it will just feel like you've
Yeah,
dated for long enough now and now you wanna get married.
yeah.
Fair enough. I think a lot of people go through that phase also, that now it feels right to
And it
take
was
the risk.
never the pressure for the other person to
Mm.
feel that,
Yeah.
I never wanted to make the other person feel this, that, now we should think. It was like,
Mm.
should I be having an internal feeling that by this time you should get married or at least talk about having a future
Right.
together.
Right.
I would have these kind of questions in my head but never went through it because all of the relationships ended. Well. It's true.
Yeah, I thought of a question now, I forgot. Truth bombs, truth bombs. Okay. I was saying, so if in your relationship you at a point felt like you wanted to get married, right? And you were like, but you didn't let that pressure get to the other person, or even like, make them feel the same way. So what do you think happens when in relationships when one person reaches that phase, ki, "Ha, now I want to get married," but the other one doesn't? What do you think happens then, or how do people deal with it usually? How should they deal with it?
How should they deal with it? They should talk about it.
No, but as in like, sometimes people are obviously they'll talk about it, but then sometimes one person is ready, but the other one is not. So do you wait for them to get ready, or do you walk away because the other person is not ready? Might never be ready, honestly. Or the other person is not ready. Do they just go ahead with it because they're like they don't want to lose the partner, so they might as well go ahead with it?
I really don't know what's the right answer in this. I think all of them are right in their own ways. Just not the one where you have this feeling that that the other person might never be ready, and you
Hmm.
always wanted to get married.
Right.
Then probably if the person decides to quit the thought of
Hmm.
a marriage altogether
Yeah.
and still be in the relationship,
Hmm.
and that's a huge sacrifice to make, and you never
It
know
is.
how happy you would be and for how long.
Exactly, exactly. So I think it again boils down to the same thing that, there is no right answer to this, but you should do what you feel is right. So, say for instance, you want to get married, but your partner doesn't want to get married. And the sad reality is that he's never going to change his mind. Then I think for your own sake and for your own sanity, you should maybe consider leaving this, you know. So you can find someone who actually does want to get married and maybe lead a life that you want to and always dreamt of for yourself, right? Is it going to hurt? Yeah, but then staying there with this person who you want to marry but won't marry you, that is also going to hurt, right? And the constant reminder of the fact that you could have had a life had you walked away 5 years ago, but you stayed, and now it's like, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. So I think if you really know something, whether it is getting married or whether it is not getting married, if you feel it ache somewhere in your body, I suppose, you might as well go ahead and do what you feel is right, and then deal with whatever consequences are there, as opposed to just going with it because XYZ said that you should.
Ideally, in an
Yeah, it's
ideal
hard, isn't
world,
it?
yes, because it's so much. Oh my god, there's going to be so much of grief when you do that. And
That is true.
but I definitely think that this is the right thing to, at least for me, I think that's the
Yeah,
right thing to do.
yeah.
Exactly what you explained, but I can also understand if people are not able to go do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, right? These experiences are so unique to people, and it's not like the grief of staying is not there, right? So you have to then let go of the version of you that probably wanted to get married. So there will be grief of losing that version of you also, right? Which will be a very individual and a very
Grief of staying,
uh,
grief of letting go always weighs higher. But
it is,
the staying one will be persistent, consistent.
and it will be very individualistic also, right? You are the only one who's gonna feel it. The
Yeah.
other person
Oh
won't
yeah.
know that you're feeling it because you
Hmm.
stayed. So they're like, "Oh, we're happy. We're in a relationship." They won't know what's going on, and you will be internally spiraling and mourning and grieving this version of you that probably wanted to get married. So
True.
it's like which do you choose? Also, again, tough, tough
Yeah.
choices.
And it's weird because almost all of my clients are at this stage where either they want to get married, or they're thinking of getting married, or uh, everybody around them are getting married and they are getting overwhelmed or panicked by it.
Yeah, that happens, right? When
Such a
you see
weird
things
time.
happening around you, you're like, you're probably missing out. You should probably do more. You should probably do something differently. But that's a very good example of how, even the ones who are getting married or trying to get married, it's not like they have it easy, right? They have their own struggles. So it's not
Yeah.
like nobody is struggling. You're just struggling in different ways, I suppose.
Hmm. And this is why I thought that this is the best topic for our conversation today.
Clearly, no path is leading to sanity. I think it's just going to be the fact that we are not fine, regardless of what we choose.
I thought definitely I'm not, because I said stayed. I don't want to
Uh,
stay in a
yeah, that's
marriage where where I won't be
you're
happy.
gonna have to bring it up with your therapist.
Again, yeah, and I will.
You should. You should.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. As I think we will see in the next session, in the next episode, where we will talk about yet another thing that we are not fine with. Maybe even call a person who is married, man, so we can figure out why exactly or how exactly they think. I think that would be a good perspective
Somebody
to
who's
have.
married.
Somebody is married, yeah.
That
Maybe
would be
they are
fun.
also not fine. Who knows? I think we'll figure it out.
So this was We Are Not Fine, and hopefully we'll see you in the next episode where we'll still be not fine.
As always, see you soon.
See you.